The trait that describes Bucharest the most is its diversity, especially in terms of architecture. Bucharest, you don't get bored walking on the streets. You will have surprises around the corner everywhere.
This is Bucharest, Romania, the capital of the country and a city that I have become very fond of. Around 2 million people live here, and it is a place of incredible beauty, varied architecture, and tremendous history. It is always difficult to attempt to provide a comprehensive picture of a place such as this because there are so many different areas and so much that I didn't get a chance to experience. I'll try then just to provide a sense of the city by showing what I did and where I traveled. I think you're going to enjoy this. The appearance of Bucharest was shaped significantly by the years spent as a communist country. One of its major streets is Culinary Boulevard. It was designed as a way to show the world how well Romania was doing under its totalitarian dictator, Nicolae Ceausescu.
We are in Bucharest on a boulevard that was built by the communist regime, which was called the Victory of Socialism.
Starting in 1984, the street and all of the buildings lining both sides began taking shape. The structures were much more grand than those typically built under communism. The wide street and attractive promenades on each side evoked thoughts of Paris. Down the middle, an impressively involved series of fountains are part of the streetscape. The water features stretch for almost 1.5 kilometers. At its midpoint, the complex far exceeds, at least for me, the famed attraction at the front of the Bellagio in Las Vegas. There are 44 fountains, and they produce a scene unlike any that you've ever experienced. Although built under communism, they were recently renovated and modernized. Guinness now recognizes this as the longest choreographed fountain system in the world. As spectacular as this is in the daylight, nighttime shows on the weekends take it to another level. The fountains are not to be missed. At the end of Culinary Boulevard, and built at the same time, is the Palace of the Parliament. This massive structure is said to be the heaviest administrative building in the world, with claims that it is second in size only to the Pentagon.
It's built by Nicolae Ceausescu, who wanted to create this amazing image of communism in Romania.
It now holds Parliament and a contemporary art museum. It is said that many locals do not like this place, not only because of what it stood for originally, but also in view of what was lost when it and Culinary Boulevard were created.
There was an entire neighborhood that was destroyed in order to create this building, so people lost their homes for generations.
Thousands were forced from their homes and never compensated. It is only through the determination of some at the time that remarkable elements from the old neighborhood remain. This is the Antim Monastery. It would have been destroyed, but it, along with other key features, were lifted up and moved over rails out of the construction zone.
This was moved just about 20 meters, but there was a church that was moved 300 meters.
This would have been lost forever, if not for a monumental effort to preserve it. Early in my time in Bucharest, I discovered what's in the heart of the city, beginning at the Roman Athenaeum. Built in the neoclassical style, this place opened in 1888. Today, it serves as a concert hall. The grounds in front are stunning. This total package gave me just a small indication of the beauty and grandeur of what this city provides. Many more regal and ornate buildings would follow in a wide variety of architectural styles. This is where my free tour of the city center, led by Alexandra, started.
I discovered Bucharest since I started to do the tour, and now I am super happy to be able to show this to you.
Over 3 hours, I saw so much of what combines to make Bucharest such a gorgeous and fascinating city. I won't give specifics of each place, but I'll provide a closer look at just a few. Look at the Carol I Central University Library of Bucharest. When you see it, there is a sense of awe. This is in the Beaux Arts style and opened in 1895. The statue of Carol I makes quite a statement. It commemorates the ruler who was in place as the country gained its independence and is seen as the founder of the modern Romanian state. Next to the library is Revolution Square. It is surrounded by governmental buildings, one of which was the former home of the Central Committee of the Romanian Communist Party. The square was a key spot in the events of 1989 when the communist regime was overthrown. This is the Memorial of Rebirth, which is a tribute to the victims of the 1989 revolution. Hard to believe that was not all that long ago. Across the way is the former Royal Palace. It now houses the National Museum of Art. The site dates to 1812, with the current building rising in the 1930s. Of course, there are numerous old churches scattered throughout Bucharest. This is the church of the Stavropalius Monastery. It was created in 1724 by a Greek businessman. The temple is small, but huge in terms of the visual appeal it offers. Everyone passing by is attracted to the space. Going inside reveals even more wonders. Paintings and other decorative features make it a challenge to know where to look. Another religious building with a magnetic allure is the St. Nicholas Russian Church. This was completed in 1909 and sports 7 onion domes on top, which is not a style typically seen in Romania. I also stopped by the new St. George Church. This is Romanian Orthodox and was consecrated in 1707. Recent excavations show that it sits on the foundation of another church from the 15th century. This was a cool location. It is the Pasajul Maca Velacros. Essentially, it is a street that has been enclosed, featuring numerous restaurants and places where it is possible to get a drink. The design and serpentine configuration of the passage goes back to the late 1800s.
This became the first shopping mall of Bucharest.
This is apparently the place to go today for smoking shisha out of a hookah. Bucharest is a mixture of all the historic eras that provide its foundation. Everything from kingdoms to Ottoman rule to communist regimes. Don't be mistaken though, as many apparently are. This is still a modern city with all the comforts anyone needs.
I heard many stories where people would tell me that before they came to Bucharest, they thought that they are going to arrive in a small town where people travel with carriages, not with cars. And then they came here like, oh, but your city is so modern and it's beautiful and people are dressed very well. And I'm like, yeah, of course, we are civilized.
A free walking tour is a great way to become acquainted with Bucharest, and I highly recommend the one that I took with Alexandra. In the description below, I've left a link where you can find the tour. I discovered plenty more about Bucharest outside of the tour. How about the National Theatre? It's an okay building, but the artwork out front was what I liked most. The main statue is a famous Romanian playwright, Ion Luca Caragiale. Fittingly, the official title of the National Theatre carries his name. The sculpture that also stands in front of the building is so much fun. It features an assortment of characters from the playwright's most famous works. They all seem to fit well together in one piece. Nearby is the Old Town, a superb part of the city with so much to see and do. Much of this section is comprised of pedestrian-only streets. Those walking areas lie between a plethora of structures representing neoclassical and neo-Baroque styles. Pubs, restaurants, and other shops flourish in this environment. It's one of the favorite locations for visitors to the city. One of the most attractive spots is Umbrella Street. In recent years, most places that draw the attention of visitors have added festively colored items atop one of the city center's picturesque avenues. In Bucharest, it's not only possible to walk under the canopy, but you can dine there as well. People love seeing this sort of setting. I am a lover of street performers. Old Town has its share. This sand sculptor was a bit different than most of the artists I've encountered. His talent was for real, however. There were musicians too. This guy playing tunes on a dulcimer made me happy. It's unlikely that you have ever seen a bookstore more beautiful than this one, which is situated in Old Town. It is Carturesti Carousel. Contained within a 19th century property, the shop opened less than 10 years ago. The light inside here makes the store such an enticing destination. Over 6 floors, it boasts tens of thousands of books and other pieces of media. It has been called the most Instagrammable bookstore in existence. One of the most iconic places to eat in the Old Town is Manuk's Inn. This opened as an inn more than 200 years ago. It is possible to still stay here. I sat down for a bite in the wildly popular restaurant. Wanting something traditional, I ordered the tripe soup. Of course, the main ingredient is calf belly, but it also has onion, carrot, celery, egg, and I've added sour cream and garlic sauce. It's okay, but it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. But I am glad that I tried it. This was one of the more expensive places to eat that I found in the city. $17 for a bowl of soup and water after tip and all was steep for Romania. Outside of the city center, a place I truly enjoyed was the vicinity of Herastrau Park. The space itself is huge, gaining the title of largest park within a city in all of Europe. The natural surroundings, combined with the lake and tons of outdoor art, make this the most visited park in Bucharest. That is saying something, because the amount of green space here is astounding.
I love the parks in Bucharest. So this is something that I'm super grateful for. We have big, beautiful parks.
I saw many examples of areas such as this that provided outstanding venues for both passive and active recreation. When Alexandra mentioned the parks, I must admit that I just thought that was something people say no matter where you go. After a little first-hand experience, though, I could not be more impressed with the park system here. This has been a place set aside for all since 1936. Adjacent to the park is the Village Museum. It is described as an open-air ethnographic museum. The numbers are eye-popping. It covers over 100,000 square meters and contains more than 50,000 artifacts. The stars are the 123 houses, barns, and other structures. Each one was either brought to this location in one piece or dismantled elsewhere, then reassembled here. They come from every corner of the country. Informative signs tell the origin, the use of the element, and usually when it became a part of the museum. In a few instances, the interior was open to show that aspect of life. This is completely overwhelming. There's so much to see and learn. It's a bit like taking a tour of the entire country. I've never enjoyed a museum more than this. It is truly world-class. I read somewhere that spending 2 hours here would be sufficient, but I think even more time than that is needed. Cost of admission was 30 lei, or a little less than $7. Did you expect to see something like this in Bucharest? This is the Triumphal Arch, or maybe you would like to say the Arc de Triomphe. It does conjure up thoughts of the even more famous arch in Paris. This stands 27 meters or 89 feet high. It sits in the middle of a roundabout, giving it a tremendous amount of visibility. Today, it is a visual symbol of the city. The arch took shape in 1921 and 22. It was built to commemorate Romania being on the winning side in World War I. Between the First and Second World Wars, there was a considerable amount of construction in the French architectural style here. Because of this and other buildings, Bucharest earned the nickname Little Paris, or Paris of the East. The Dâmbovița River flows through the middle of Bucharest. It is an idyllic channel with placid water which enhances the landscape. I stayed within a few short blocks of its banks. One weekend, residents came out in celebration of the river in what was called the Dâmbovița Delivery. My favorite part included people taking turns to kayak or paddleboard on the water. I loved seeing the activity as people accessed the future in a way that they might never have done before. The river is an incredible asset flowing right through the heart of the city. As I understand it, one of the goals of this festival is to actually encourage people to reconnect with that waterway. In addition to the action on the water, there was plenty more in the closed-off street. Much of it had an environmental consciousness to its theme. It also included art and food, the same as any other festival. Food was the theme as I took another tour in Bucharest. It was a way to get a better understanding of residents as it focused on items typically eaten here. Mihaela led the 5-hour culinary journey. Our first stop was Herastrau. Teresa translated as terrace. There, our group devoured plates of local standards. The platter is varied. 2 preparations of eggplant, some white bean hummus, there are some fish eggs. Then we've got some pork fat, bacon, and 2 types of cheese. To wash it all down, some plum brandy, which is really strong. One of the highlights as we continued was dropping into the Obor market, the biggest in the city. Colorful fruits and vegetables were spread throughout the area. I was told that most of the vendors did not like having cameras around. Even those who didn't want to be seen on video, however, were fine with clips of what they were offering, while some were actually eager to appear. That was a highlight, but my absolute favorite was the ability to shoot in Teresa Obor, where they were cooking meech. Meech means little ones, and in this case, the little ones are skinless sausage with spices and garlic. In our group, everybody had at least one, although the normal order is 3, 4, or more. This is called meech. It's one of the most traditional Romanian foods. You eat it with mustard, some people eat it with bread. I'm forgoing the bread because there's a lot of food today. I've had this before. It is excellent. Teresa Obor has quite an operation. The line never diminished while we were here, and we learned that at times the wait to get to the front was an hour or longer. Over the grill, the cooking was continuous. When the meats were taking off the heat, they were grabbed for customers and new ones were put in their place. It was great to watch. So our guide said all they do here is make the meech, and they make 5,000 per day. Once they sell out, they close up business, come back the following day. So get here early. The BBC and others have rated the meech at Teresa Obor as the best in Bucharest and maybe beyond. On any food tour, there needs to be something sweet. We got that in this street stall in the form of fried dough with a choice of filling. Of course, dessert comes last. This is called langosh. I got the one with sour cherry filling, and it is amazing. I want to thank those on the tour for being so accommodating of me and my camera. As part of this exploration of the city, we took a tram. That is a popular way to move around in Bucharest. For me, whenever it was too far to walk somewhere, I opted for the metro. It was clean and fast and safe. Everything you want in public transportation. For my 3 weeks in the city, I stayed in this Airbnb. It is a stylish studio in a modern complex to the southeast of the city center. This was an extremely comfortable space, and I adored the balcony. I have put a link below. My host, Catalina, is offering a discount if you mention this video or Old Alone and Far From Home in your booking message. This neighborhood is so cool. It is a pleasant and safe place to walk, and there are lots of interesting buildings. This tiny chapel is the Manu the Shoemaker Church, dedicated to the Holy Trinity and built in 1817. This flower shop greeted me every day with an explosion of vibrant colors and attractive arrangements. If you are looking to brighten your mood, just drop in here for a moment. Most of the time, I look for coffee shops with ample seating inside. Amazonique was not that at all. Most people grabbed a cup to go, but not me. I utilized the seating provided right outside the front door. This has become one of my favorite things to do. Grab a cappuccino, a seat in front of the cafe, and just watch Bucharest pass by. No matter where you are, you should try it. It's a busy intersection with the road traffic, a streetcar stop, and a metro station just around the corner. Another spot for my daily cappuccino fix was this shop. It's called Human Coffee, and it fits the template of what I look for. This quickly became my place. Not only is the coffee good, but it's convenient as well. I can literally see the top of the building where I'm staying from right here. For me, the appeal here went beyond the coffee. There's a touching story behind the cup art, which contains portraits of staff members such as George.
that are made from a guy who can hear and who can't talk. So he came here and give the people the cups with their faces.
I would have liked to meet the artist. I visited several brew pubs where beer that they make is on tap. This one is in Old Town. It's called Ground Zero. There is a fairly healthy craft beer scene here in Bucharest. I'm trying right now a Split the Pot New England IPA. It's quite tasty. I thoroughly enjoyed the seating here, which consisted of a large space in the middle of a pedestrian avenue. Another spot was Hop Hooligans, situated in an older structure a short walk from the city center. This is a tap room, while the actual brewery is located several kilometers south of the city. I might have to give this place a slight edge over Ground Zero. A lot of that has to do with this. It is called Cobblestones, and it is a triple IPA. In addition to the triple IPA, I also tried a couple of imperial stouts made by Hop Hooligans that were excellent. When considering a European vacation, Romania is not at the top of the list for many individuals. Slowly, though, it appears some folks are discovering the country, and the word is beginning to spread.
People are starting to discover it and to also tell friends that, oh, you go to Bucharest, it's a nice city.
All it takes is a few days here, and you become a believer. I have been fortunate in that, without exception, I have loved all of the places that I have gone in over a year of full-time travel. Bucharest has been an exceptional treat as a destination that not many people have on their travel itinerary. That should definitely change. Originally, I was scheduled to spend 4 weeks here, but because of a change that affects American tourists, I had to cut that back to 3 weeks. I would have been thrilled to spend 1 more week in this wonderful city. I'm not finished with Romania yet. Next time, I'll visit Brașov. Join me for that here on Old, Alone, and Far From Home.